Alright, we're live.
What is
Alright, vertex form for the first one, which means f of x equals
Hello.
a times x minus h squared plus k. Alright, right? That's our vertex form. We all agree?
Yes.
Some of you look at me like I'm crazy.
He's trying to be funny.
No.
No, yeah.
Like Colin's looking at me like,
No, I got it.
alright, what's my vertex here? How do I find my vertex? H comma k. Alright, so vertex H comma k. Well, what does H equal? What does k equal?
What's the test?
H equals 3, k equals 6. Right? So my vertex should be at 3, 6. Like I said, we'll come back to the minimum maximum question in a second. Let's find the vertex for the second one. This one's in standard form. ax squared plus bx plus c. Alright? So a equals -2, b equals -4, and c equals 8. How do I find the vertex out of this form? -b over 2 times a. So x equals -b over 2a. Well, b is -4. So opposite of that, or negative that, would be +4 over 2 times -2. What's 2 times -2? -4. So 4 divided by -4 is going to give me -1. So my x value, my vertex, is -1. How do I find my y value? Plug it back in. So, -2 times -1 squared minus 4 times -1 plus 8. Right, that'll give me my y value. -1 squared is +1 times -2 is -2. -4 times -1 is +4 plus 8. -2 plus 4 gives me +2 plus 8 gives me 10. My x value is -1, my y value is 10. Alright, so I found a vertex, right? It's my vertex. I found a vertex for both problems now. Now we gotta decide, is it a maximum or a minimum? Does anyone know how we do that? Any guesses? You don't remember we talked about this on day 1? It's all going to depend on which way our graph opens. Right? So we need to look at our a values. For the first one, what's my a value?
-6.
The first one is 6, right? A equals 6. So a is positive, which means it's going to open up, right? It smiles. It's positive, it's smiling. It opens up. So if my vertex is down here, is that a minimum or a maximum? A minimum. So 3, 6 is a minimum. Okay? Let's do the same thing for the second problem. My a value is -2. So if a equals -2, it's negative. Which way is my graph going to open? Down, right? It's negative. It's going to frown. So if it opens down, my vertex is up here. What type of point is that?
Maximum.
A maximum. I'm just going to write max. Does that make sense? Yeah? Yes, Jack.
Why wouldn't you just like reverse?
What do you mean? Why would you? What do you mean?
Like why can't that one from and that one?
Because remember we said whatever, if a is positive, it always opens up. Right? If it's positive, it's always smiling. If a is negative, which in this case our a value is -2, it's going to frown. It's going to open down. It all depends on that a value. Okay? Alright. Any other questions on the bell ringer? Homework. Is this the right homework? This is not the right homework. This isn't even close. Is it?
Is the right one? Actually, it just looks different.
It just looks all weird. Alright. Well, we'll see how it goes. See if it's the right stuff going now. All right, number 1, fx equals x plus 8 squared plus 7. 2, fx equals x minus 1 squared minus 6. 3, fx equals x minus 6 squared plus 10. Is 4 the same?
Yes.
Yeah. 4, fx equals x squared minus 4x plus 8. And then 5 through 8. 5 is A, 6 is C, 7 is B, 8 is B. Questions on the front?
How is 8B?
How is 8B? So you put it in your graphing calculator, right?
Yeah.
What did your graph look like?
I don't remember.
You don't remember? So let me put it in mine. We'll check here. Oh, it's already in there. Look at that. So when you put that in, if that's my graph, it should look like.
I probably typed it in.
So you careful how you type it in, right? 'Cause it crosses twice. It means it's gonna have 2 real solutions. We're gonna show you a way how to do this. Figuring out if it has 1 real, 2 real, or 2 complex without using the graph on your calculator.
Yeah.
We're gonna learn that today.
What was number 4 again? Sorry.
Number 4. fx equals x squared minus 4x plus 8. Okay, ready for backside? 9 and 10, check your graphs. Hey guys, how many points do you need on your graph?
5.
At least 5, vertex and 4 others. Oops. 11 and 12.
The points went off the graph.
This one, yeah. That's fine. If they go off the graph, obviously you can't plot them. That's the only time it's okay to have less than 5. Okay? Yes, Katie?
Did you go over number 12?
Number 12. Alright. So, number 12. Y equals negative x squared minus 3. You could have done this a couple different ways. Did you do it as it was standard form or vertex?
I said standard.
You said standard. So you did it like y equals negative x squared plus 0x minus 3.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So our a value is negative 1, our b value is 0, and c is negative 3, right? So if I do negative b over 2a, negative b over 2a, I get negative 0, which is just 0, over 2 times negative 1. Well, what's 0 divided by anything? 0. The only time it's not possible is if we're dividing by 0. You can have 0 divided by stuff, but you can't divide by 0. That's what makes it undefined. Okay? So this one's going to equal 0. So my x value is 0. And if I plug it back into here, I get negative 3. So that's where I get 0, negative 3. And then I look at my a value, it's negative 1. Instead of going 1 right, 1 up, 1 right, 1 down. 1 right, 3 down. Okay? Also, make sure your line, your axis of symmetry, should be a dotted line. Right? Not that solid line. Okay? Does that answer your question for that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. 13. A is 6. B is 20. C is 6. 14. A is 88. B is negative 21. C is x minus 3 squared plus 7. If you change the standard form, that'd be fine as well. We're not going to see a lot of problems like that. Okay. Any questions? Alright, then, today we're going to talk about using quadratic formula. You're going to learn how to use the quadratic formula. You're going to learn what it is, first of all. And then we're going to talk about using the discriminant. New vocab word. Right? We're going to learn how to do that as well. So, they give you a problem like this. 7x squared plus 13x minus 10 equals 0. You're not going to want to factor that, are you? Right? Who knows if it even factors? Right? There's going to be some problems that we give you that won't even factor. So we're going to have to find a different way to solve them. And that different way is a quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
We have to remember this formula.
I will have to get back to you on that. As I was just thinking of, I haven't looked at the test yet, so I would assume going on previous experiences, that we probably give it to you on the test. But I'm not 100% certain on that, so don't quote me, okay? There are a couple cool ways to remember it. You guys want to watch the videos? We gonna sing along? You guys want to sing?
I don't feel like letting.
Oh, singing.
Are you gonna record this for your
Let's
Yeah.
remind them how bad it is.
What we're actually doing.
What is
The
this?
first part is
Yeah, let's make a.
Well, this is a different video than I watched yesterday.
a squared plus 3x plus c equals 0.
Yeah,
We have a
16
quadratic
is
function
nothing.
set equal to 0. We're using the quadratic function of negative b plus or minus the square root of c squared minus 4.
You hear that?
Watching this video right now probably did really bad on our
Fine.
ACT.
Hey,
Where the
quiet.
function crosses the x-axis or when the function is equal to 0. So there is a term that goes by one direction that we will use for
This is a different one than I showed you yesterday.
Get out of my head, fall into my arms and instead. I don't know what it is, but I knew that one thing. You got that one thing. Good. So if you use that same chorus,
I can play the guitar like that.
quadratic formula behind me.
I can play the.
Negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over to a. Now you know the quadratic formula. Now you know the quadratic formula.
That one's not as good as the roll the boat one.
Do it one more time.
Let's hear the other one.
Alright, I don't know if the roll the boat one's on here then, because that's where that normally
You're
is.
gonna get copyright.
But this,
Definitely.
Hey, what's up? Alright, so
This is
this
my
video is
favorite
about.
one.
Hey, what's up? Alright, so this video is about a really awesome way to remember the quadratic formula that I
This one's not a
learned from my
song.
professor a couple years ago, and I've never forgotten it. So I thought that I would share it with you. Ready for this? A negative boy couldn't decide
Hey,
whether he should go to
Quiet.
a radical party.
I'll start over, since some of us are talking.
I heard it in a negative.
My professor
Hey.
a couple years ago, and I've never
Quit
forgotten
talking.
it. So I thought that I would share it with you. Ready for this? A negative boy.
What is going on now? What did you do?
The party's too radical.
Too radical, man.
A negative boy.
A negative.
My class is way too radical.
I think this is a sign.
Alright, let's try this one more time.
I like that better than radical.
My professor a couple years ago, and I've never forgotten it. So I thought that I would share it with you.
Alright,
Ready for this?
quiet.
A negative boy couldn't decide whether he should go to a radical party. But, being square, he decided not to go. He missed out on 4 awesome chicks. Party was not over until 2 a.m. Boom.
That's
Quadratic
not
formula.
that bad.
It's quadratic formula right there.
Yeah.
Alright, so what I'll do is I'm going to put these videos on Schoology. So if you want to use one of them to remember it,
Rewatch
you
it one
can.
more time. Rewatch it one more time.
You want to watch it one more time?
One more time.
Alright, then we got to get going, so we got to actually do
So,
stuff.
this video is about a
Alright, one more
really
time.
awesome way to remember the quadratic formula that I learned from my professor a couple years ago. And I've
Hey,
never
shh,
forgotten
don't
it,
watch it one
so
more time,
I thought that I would
quiet.
share it with you. Ready for this?
I got it.
A negative boy couldn't decide
Go to a radical
whether he should go to a radical party. But,
because he was
being square, he decided not to go. He missed out on 4 awesome chicks. Party was not
Didn't end
over
till 2 a.m.
until 2 a.m.
Look at that, you know quadratic formula now.
Quadratic formula.
Alright, so those are a couple different ways to remember it. Like I said, I'll post those links to Schoology. But let's try some problems. We're going to use this. Hey, I can show you where this came from, but the proof is really long and you just get even more confused. Alright, so it comes from standard form, where you go ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. If you solve that out for x, this is what you get. Right? This is what it comes out to. If you start with that and you solve for x, you get the quadratic formula. Right? But it's really long, really complicated, and I don't want to confuse you. So you just got to trust me that this is how we're going to solve things. Alright? Yes,
So
Jack?
we have to memorize this.
Not 100% sure, I can get back to you tomorrow. Okay?
It's not
I already
that hard to
memorized
memorize.
It's not. By the time you do it a bunch of times, you have it known. Alright, so what we need to do is we need to figure out what does A equal, what does B equal, what does C equal. A equals 4, B equals negative 13, C equals 9. And all we gotta do is we gotta plug those values in. Right? So we're not always gonna get nice answers with that, just a warning. Not always gonna get nice answers with this. So, X equals negative or opposite B. Negative 13 is positive 13. Plus or minus the square root of negative 13 squared. Minus 4 times A, which is 4, times C, which is 9. All over 2 times 4, or 2 times A. Okay? The biggest thing is we need to start doing our algebra. So start doing what's underneath our radical, and then multiply our bottom here too. X equals 13 plus or minus the square root. Negative 13 squared is 169. Minus 4 times 4 times 16. Or 4 times 4 times 9. Excuse me, sorry.
Isn't it negative 4?
Minus 44.
16.
What?
Negative 144.
Negative 144, so minus 144 all over 8. Alright? So we're all here. We all follow how we got to that. Okay, do your subtraction here. X equals 13 plus or minus the square root of 25 over 8. And all you do is subtract. What's the square root of 25? 5. X equals 13 plus or minus 5 over 8. This one's going to come out to nice numbers. Right? So what I'm going to do from this point, if my radical goes away, if I take the square root and everything goes away like that, I'm going to split it up into 2 pieces. First one's going to be 13 plus 5 over 8. Second one's going to be 13 minus 5 over 8. So I took my plus minus here, and I split them up. Well, this one comes out to 18 over 8, which can reduce to 9/4, or 2.25. 13 minus 5 over 8 will give me 8 over 8, which equals 1. Right? So if you get rid of your radical, split it up into 2 pieces and solve them out. Okay? So that one came out to 2 nice numbers. Any questions? We all followed along there? Okay. Let's try one more. I know there's 2 more there, but I want to do only one more. Alright, the next one. Okay, first things first, it has to equal 0. Alright, we always are starting in standard form. When we're using quadratic formula, it has to equal 0. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. 9x squared plus 2x plus 3 equals 0. Alright, A equals 9. B equals 2. C equals 3. Right? Figure out what A, B, and C equals. So, negative B, right? X equals negative B, or negative 2. Plus or minus the square root of B squared, or 2 squared minus 4, times A, which is 9, times C, which is 3. All over 2A. Right? Same thing. Start by doing your algebra here. X equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 4 minus 108 minus minus 108, right? Over 18. Okay. So this one's going to come out to not a nice answer. Right? I'm going to get x equals negative 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 104 over 18. Now, what we need to do, because we know it's not a nice square root, is we need to take and break it down. Find simplified radical form. So take square root of negative 104. Well, first of all, I'm going to take a negative 1 out. Are there any perfect squares that go into 104? There's not?
There is.
I think so. What about like 4 times 26?
I know that.
Oh, I guess that'll work. That'll
Double check it. Don't just trust me. Just do that in my head.
Yes.
We good? Alright, so we take a 4 out. Alright, so square root of negative 1 times square root of 4 times square root of 26. What's the square root of negative 1?
Yeah, so it's just 2.
I. See back there said. I times 2 times square root of 26, otherwise known as 2i square root of 26. Right? That's what I'm going to replace in here. That's what I'm going to replace square root of negative 104 with. So equals negative 2 plus or minus 2i square root of 26
Whoa.
over 18.
This is just.
There's so much.
I know, it's a lot, right?
How many more days do we have? Because this, I don't even know, this test is going to be tough.
I don't get it.
Just backside.
I don't think so, but I'll double check. Like I said, I haven't looked at the test yet. We talked about that already.
We
Hey.
have 2 more days.
One more step, guys.
Wait.
I can take a 2 out of all 3 of my pieces. Alright? And then I'm done. Take a 2 out of here, I get negative 1. 2 out of here, I get 1. 2 out of here, I get 9. Right? You gotta make sure you can factor it out of all 3 of your pieces, otherwise you can't do it.
That was negative 1.
So we get negative 1 plus or minus I squared to 26 over 9. Right? That's our final answer. That's 2 answers there. Now, like I said, it's not going to be easy always. It's not always going to be a nice answer. Alright, negative 1 plus or minus I squared to 26 over 9. Yes?
We can't take out 2 from 26.
No, we cannot take anything from under that radical. Okay? Alright, we're running short on time, but we got to get to the next part. So I'm going to skip this, the next one, and we're going to go down to the discriminant. Do you have a question, Jack?
Yeah, how come you took out the 9 out of the 18? Is it because you took out the...
Well, I took a 2 out.
Oh,
So I divided 18 by 2 and I got 9.
oh, because you took a 2 out of the top.
Took a 2 out of top, yep. Alright, let's talk about the discriminant quick. Like I said, that's a new vocab word. The discriminant, that's the part under the radical in our quadratic formula. B squared minus 4ac. Right here, this part in blue. What we're going to do with that is we're going to tell whether it's 2 real, 2 complex, or 1 real. Just like we did with the graphs, right? Except now we don't need the graphs. If that discriminant, we plug in A, B, and C and it comes out positive, we get 2 real solutions. Negative, 2 complex, 0, 1 real. Alright? Because if it's negative under the radical, I'm going to get an I. So it gives me 2 complex solutions. If it's 0, it's adding and subtracting 0, which doesn't change it. That's why it's 1 real. And positive will give us 2 real. Okay? Let's try one problem quick before we got to go. Maybe 2 if we have time. Okay? I know I kind of flew through that explanation. Right? Are we all okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah? Okay. The discriminant, like I said, b squared minus 4ac. The only part we're using from our quadratic formula is the part under the radical. So b squared minus 4ac, let's try the first one. A equals 4, b equals negative 12, and c equals 9. Okay? So like I said, if it comes out to be negative, that means underneath my radical I'm going to get an I because it's negative. If it comes out to be positive, it's going to be 2 real solutions. 0 is going to be 1 real solution. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to plug it in to my discriminant. So I get negative 12 squared minus 4 times A, which is 4, times C, which is 9.
Always those numbers.
144 minus 144 gives me 0. So if I look, we said if we get 0 for our discriminant, how many types, what type of solution am I going to get? 1 real solution. Alright, that was quick. We can do one more. So we get 1 real solution. 3n squared plus 6m plus 12 equals 0. A equals 3. B equals 6. C equals 12. Still using that same discriminant. That piece that's under the radical. B squared or 6 squared minus 4 times A, which is 3, times C, which is 12. Right, we all follow where those numbers come from?
Wait, just, can you slow down?
Am I going too fast?
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Shit, I did it wrong.
Alright, A equals 3, B equals 6, C equals 12. So, B squared is 6 squared, minus 4AC, 4 times 3 times 12, 36, minus 1, 44, gives me negative 108. Right? What happens if I get a negative for my discriminant? Too complex. Yes, class is over.
So when